What if the chaos inside your mind isn't random, but a pattern you can learn to master? Imagine a life where stress, anxiety, and overwhelm no longer control your every move. Today, discover the timeless wisdom and simple strategies that can transform your mind into your greatest source of strength. 7 simple strategies to calm your mind. A simple idea, but one that holds the power to completely change your mental state. Transcript: a simple idea, but one that holds the power to completely change your mental state. Pause and reflect. Your mind is constantly running, thinking, overthinking, replaying the past, and worrying about a future that hasn't even happened. The world around you is loud, chaotic, and filled with distractions, pulling you in every direction and leaving you mentally exhausted. You try to escape, seeking peace in wealth, success, relationships, or temporary comforts, believing that once you have enough, you'll finally feel at ease. But what if all of it disappeared overnight? Would the peace you cling to still exist? Or was it never real to begin with? The truth is, a calm mind isn't something you find, it's something you build. Just like a strong body needs exercise, a strong mind needs the right habits. Without them, you become a prisoner of your own thoughts, trapped in cycles of stress, doubt, and anxiety. The good news is there's a way out. Stoicism, one of the most practical and time-tested philosophies, offers a blueprint for mental resilience. It teaches you how to control what's within your power, let go of what isn't, and create an unshakable sense of peace, one that no external. This core idea, though ancient, remains just as crucial in today's chaotic world. Pause and reflect. Force can take away. In this video, you'll learn 7 simple strategies used by the Stoics to stay calm in the face of chaos, strategies that are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. And here's the thing, you're not the only one who needs this. Everyone knows someone who's struggling, someone who's stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed. Share this with them, because sometimes one small shift can change everything. Now I want to hear from you. What's one thing that helps you find peace when life gets overwhelming? Drop your story in the comments, because your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. 1. Control the first thought. Your mind reacts before you do. A harsh comment, a disappointing email, a sudden setback, and an instant emotions rise: anger, frustration, anxiety. Before you even realize it, your body tenses, your pulse quickens, and your thoughts spiral. But here's the thing, the first thought is automatic. The second thought is a choice. This is where true mastery begins. A calm mind isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about shaping them. At this core idea, though ancient, remains just as crucial in today's chaotic world. Remember their origin. If you can control the first conscious thought after an initial reaction, you control the direction of your mind. And when you control your mind, you control your life. Your thoughts don't appear in a vacuum, they are shaped by past experiences, unconscious biases, and emotional conditioning. The moment something triggers you, your brain pulls from stored patterns and reacts before you have time to think. This happens because of the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for processing emotions, particularly fear and stress. Remember, when it senses a threat, whether physical or psychological, it activates the fight or flight response, flooding your system with cortisol. Your body prepares for battle, even if the threat is just an offhand remark or a delayed response to your text. But the Stoics understood a crucial distinction. You don't have to accept your first reaction as truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Pause and reflect. Realize this, and you will find strength. The power isn't in controlling external events, it's in controlling your interpretation of them. In those first few seconds after something happens, your mind is at a crossroads. Either you react on impulse, letting emotions dictate your response, or you pause and take back control. The Stoics practiced a technique that modern neuroscience confirms: the power of deliberate delay. When you pause even for a moment, you shift from an emotional reaction to a rational response. Try this the moment you feel. Pause and reflect. Triggered, label it. I feel anger, I feel stressed. This act alone creates distance between you and the emotion. A deep breath signals to your nervous system that there is no real danger. It reduces cortisol and reactivates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic and decision-making. Instead of reacting on autopilot, ask, what's the most effective way to respond? This single question shifts you from emotional impulsivity to intentional control. By practicing this, you train your mind to see events objectively, remember, rather than through the lens of immediate motion. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine you receive an email that instantly upsets you. Maybe a criticism from your boss or a client rejecting your work. Your first thought, this is unfair. They don't appreciate my effort. But what if instead of fueling that reaction you stopped? What if you reframe the situation through the lens of Stoicism? Ask yourself, what's within my control here? Does this email define my worth? Or is it just one moment in a much bigger picture? What can I learn from this? By doing this, you take power away from the situation and place it back in your hands. You move from reaction to response, from victimhood to agency. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Every situation is an opportunity to reinforce discipline over your own mind. This core idea, though ancient, remains just as crucial in today's chaotic world. Pause and reflect. Mastering the first thought isn't something you do once. It's a daily discipline. Just like building physical strength, it requires training. Start small. Catch one reactive thought per day. Notice when you're about to react impulsively and pause. Use a simple mantra. Try saying, pause, breathe. Choose before responding. Reframe one negative thought. If something frustrates you, ask, how would a Stoic see this? Over time, these small changes add up. Your automatic reactions lose their grip. Your mind becomes more resilient, and the best part, the more you practice, the more remember natural it becomes. What once felt impossible, staying calm under pressure, becomes your default state. When you master your first thought, everything shifts. Conversations become smoother. Stressful situations lose their power. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter and start directing it toward what does. Most people let their emotions control them. The Stoics master their emotions like a warrior wields a sword, with precision, purpose, and discipline. So the next time something triggers you, remember this. The first thought is instinct. The second thought is strategy. And the choice is always yours. Let's move to the next strategy, one that helps you break free from overthinking and take immediate action. The 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, you'll send that email later, you'll go to the gym next week. Yet the cycle continues. Tasks pile up, deadlines loom, and stress takes hold. Your mind becomes a battlefield of hesitation, flooded with self-doubt and unnecessary overanalysis. Procrastination, it isn't just about this core idea, though ancient, remains just as crucial in today's chaotic world. Pause and reflect. Laziness, it's about fear of imperfection, of discomfort. The longer you delay, the stronger that fear grows, feeding on inaction like a fire consuming dry wood. But the Stoics knew a fundamental truth: action destroys anxiety. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build your life action by action and be satisfied if each one achieves its goal." Remember, the mind craves movement. It thrives when you start, not when you sit in paralysis waiting for motivation to appear. This is where the 2-minute rule changes everything. When faced with hesitation, don't think, just begin. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. If it takes longer, commit to just 2 minutes of effort. This breaks inertia and forces your brain into momentum mode. The hardest part of any action isn't finishing, it's starting. And once you start, you realize the resistance was just an illusion. Picture this. Your alarm goes off, and your first pause and reflect thought is to hit snooze. But instead of debating whether to get up, you apply the rule. You commit to just 2 minutes. Sit up, place your feet on the floor, and take one deep breath. Suddenly you're awake. The friction is gone. Action has taken over. This works in every aspect of life. Want to read more? Open the book and read one paragraph. Need to work out? Do one push-up. Dreading a difficult conversation? Write the first sentence of a text. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain hates unfinished tasks. Once you begin and pause and reflect, internal need to complete what you've started kicks in. This is why writers who struggle to start a chapter suddenly find themselves immersed after writing just one sentence. The mind resists until action forces it to comply. Seneca observed, "While we wait for life, life passes." Overthinking is just waiting disguised as thinking. You're not preparing, you're stalling. Pause and reflect. The Stoics didn't sit around debating the perfect course of action. They did what they could with what they had. They understood that hesitation breeds weakness while execution builds strength. When you hesitate, your brain enters a loop of self-preservation. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision becomes overloaded with questions. What if I fail? What if it takes too long? What if it doesn't work? This hesitation fuels the amygdala, which interprets inaction as danger, triggering a stress response. Your heart rate rises. Pause and reflect. Your breathing shortens, and suddenly a simple task feels overwhelming. The 2-minute rule cuts through this paralysis, bypassing the overthinking loop. When you start a task, even for 2 minutes, you shift from an emotional state of fear to a logical state of action. Your dopamine levels increase, reinforcing a sense of progress. The more you do this, the stronger your mental resilience becomes. This isn't just theory. It's a practical tool that changes the way you approach daily life. Struggling to start a report, blog, or email? Write one sentence. Not in pause and reflect. The mood to work out? Do 2 minutes of movement, jumping jacks, push-ups, stretching. Can't tackle a messy room? Clean for 2 minutes. Need to apologize or confront someone? Draft the first line of a message. Feeling anxious? Close your eyes and breathe deeply for 2 minutes. This isn't about tricking yourself. It's about creating small victories that lead to bigger results. The Stoics believed in training the mind through discipline, not through sudden leaps of motivation. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This means ignoring the mind's resistance and taking small, immediate steps forward. The reason this rule is so powerful isn't just because it helps you start. It's because it rewires your identity. Every time you act, even in the smallest way, you reinforce a new self-image. I am someone who takes action. I am not a slave to hesitation. I control my mind. Imagine someone who spends years telling themselves, "I can't wake up early." This core idea, though ancient, remains just as crucial in today's chaotic world. Pause and reflect. Every day they hit snooze, reinforcing their belief. But the moment they commit to just 2 minutes of action, sitting up, stretching, drinking water, something shifts. One morning turns into 2, 2 turns into 10. And suddenly waking up early is no longer a struggle. Small actions create momentum. Momentum creates identity. Identity creates transformation. This is why the smallest step forward is always better than standing still. The weight of hesitation disappears the moment you take action. Your mind, once clouded by doubt, becomes sharp and decisive. You stop, remember, second-guessing yourself. You move, and when you move, everything changes. Try this today. Pick one thing you've been putting off and commit to 2 minutes of action. Set a timer, block out the doubt, and begin. You'll notice something incredible. The task that seemed impossible no longer feels overwhelming. You don't need to see the whole path, just the first step. Hesitation is the enemy of progress. Action is the cure. The next time you catch yourself trapped in action, remember this motion creates clarity. Start now, and the rest will follow. 3. The mental shelf. Your mind is a storage unit, but unlike a well-organized library, it often resembles a cluttered attic. Thoughts pile up: unfinished tasks, past regrets, future worries. They sit there gathering dust, taking up space, making it harder to focus, harder to think, harder to breathe. You wonder why you feel overwhelmed, why your brain feels like it's running a marathon without ever crossing the finish line. The answer is simple: you're carrying too much. Imagine walking into a room stacked floor to ceiling with this core idea, though ancient, remains just as crucial in today's chaotic world. Pause and reflect. Furniture, unopened boxes, and scattered papers. You try to move, but every step is obstructed. You want to focus, but your surroundings demand attention. This is what happens when your mind is overloaded with unprocessed thoughts. Your brain, like that cluttered room, has limited cognitive space. The more you hoard, the less mental clarity you have. A study by neuroscientists at Princeton University found that clutter, whether physical or mental, competes for your attention, making it harder to process information. This is why unfinished tasks nag at you, why intrusive thoughts break your concentration, why overthinking drains your energy before you've even taken action. The Stoics knew this long before neuroscience confirmed it. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And one of the biggest ways we waste time is by mentally holding on to things we should have already let go of. You wake up already thinking about what needs to be done, a deadline, a conversation. You've been avoiding a mistake from yesterday before you even this core idea, though ancient, remains just as crucial in today's chaotic world. Remember, get out of bed, your mind is flooded with an endless list of mental clutter. By the time you sit down to work, focus feels impossible. The weight of everything unfinished pulls at you, scattering your thoughts in every direction. But what if you could clear that space? What if instead of carrying everything at once, you had a system, a mental shelf where you could organize, prioritize, and let go? This is how it works. When something is bothering, you don't keep it in your head. Write it down. The moment you transfer a thought from your mind to paper, you pause and reflect. Create psychological distance. It's no longer an abstract weight. It's something tangible, something separate from you. This isn't just Stoic wisdom, it's backed by modern psychology. A study in the journal Psychological Science found that simply writing down worries and discarding the paper reduced stress levels significantly. The act of externalizing thoughts tricks the brain into believing the burden has been lifted. Picture this. You're overwhelmed with work, trying to juggle multiple tasks, but you can't seem to focus on any, pause and reflect of them. Your mind jumps from one thing to the next, unsure where to start. Instead of forcing yourself to push through the mental chaos, take 2 minutes to unload. Write down every task, every worry, every unfinished thought. Then go through the list and sort it into 3 categories: do, delay, or discard. First, look at what needs immediate action. If something can be done quickly, do it now. If it requires planning, schedule a time to revisit it. And if it's something beyond your control, something that serves no purpose other than taking up, pause and reflect. Space in your mind, discard it. By doing this, you free up cognitive resources, allowing your brain to focus on what truly matters. Now think about how often you replay old conversations in your head, an argument from last week, a mistake you made a year ago, a regret you can't seem to shake. You hold on to these memories as if dissecting them over and over will somehow change the outcome. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Holding on to the past doesn't change it, it only clutters your present. Instead of reliving old mistakes, extract the lesson and move forward. This applies to future worries as well. How often do you stress about things that haven't even happened yet? A meeting next week, a financial concern 6 months from now, a hypothetical scenario that may never become reality. Your mind races through every possibility, draining energy on things that are completely outside your control. The Stoics had a solution for this: preparing without obsessing. Instead of letting anxiety, this core idea, though ancient, remains just as crucial in today's chaotic world. Remember, consume. You take one proactive step toward a solution, then let go of the rest. If you can't control the outcome, worrying is a waste of mental bandwidth. There's a reason high performers, from elite athletes to CEOs, swear by daily journaling. It's not about keeping a diary, it's about clearing mental space. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Seneca wrote extensively about the practice of self-reflection. At the end of each day, they reviewed their thoughts, their actions, and their emotions, not to dwell but to release. You don't need hours to do this. Pause and reflect. Take 5 minutes, write down what's occupying your mind. If it's actionable, plan it. If it's useless, let it go. Think of your mind like a glass of water. Every thought, every worry, every unfinished task is a drop. Left unchecked, the glass overflows, making it impossible to focus, to think clearly, to function at your best. But each time you unload, whether through writing, meditation, or conscious release, you create space, you reclaim clarity, you take back control. Try it right now. Grab a piece of paper, write down everything that's been taking up. Remember, space in your mind. Don't filter. Don't judge, just put it on the page, then go through the list. What can you take action on? What can be postponed? And what needs to be let go completely? You'll be surprised at how much lighter you feel. A cluttered mind is a restless mind. A clear mind is a powerful one. If you want peace, stop hoarding mental baggage. Use the mental shelf to organize your thoughts, free up space, and focus on what truly matters. The next time your mind feels heavy, don't carry the weight. Put it down. Now that you've decluttered your mind, pause and reflect. It's time to shift perspective. Not everything that feels urgent is actually important for the 24-hour perspective. Something goes wrong, a critical email, a heated argument, a sudden change in plans. Instantly your mind magnifies it. The frustration rises, your pulse quickens. The world shrinks to this one problem, and suddenly it feels like nothing else matters. But what if you stepped outside of it? What if instead of reacting, you ask yourself one question: will this still matter in 24 hours, in a week, in a year? Perspective changes everything. What pause and reflect feels overwhelming now often becomes insignificant with time. Yet in the moment, emotions trick us into believing that every inconvenience is a catastrophe. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Pause and reflect. Strength comes from zooming out, from refusing to let fleeting emotions dictate long-term decisions. Imagine this: you're stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. Every red light feels like an attack. Your mind spirals. What if I miss something crucial? What if my boss thinks I'm irresponsible? You grip the wheel, tension building. But stop for a second. Ask yourself, in 24 hours, will this still affect my life? Will anyone even remember? Probably not. Yet how much energy did you waste being frustrated? This applies to everything. A rude comment from a pause and reflect. Stranger, a mistake at work, an unexpected delay. Your immediate reaction is to stress, to defend, to fix. But most of the time these things pass faster than we realize. The problem isn't the event, it's the importance we attach to it. When you learn to detach, to see things through a longer lens, you regain control. Science backs this up. Neuroscientists have found that emotional reactions last about 90 seconds unless we actively feed them. If you feel anger, sadness, or anxiety, beyond that, it's because your mind is holding, remember, onto it, replaying it, keeping it alive. But if you let it pass, if you shift focus, the emotion fades on its own. This is why perspective is so powerful. It interrupts the loop. A practical way to apply this is the 24-hour rule. When something upsets, you don't react immediately. Instead, wait. Give yourself 24 hours before responding, before making a decision, before letting the emotion dictate your next move. Time reveals what truly matters. The email that seemed offensive yesterday may not feel as serious today. The argument that felt pause and reflect devastating may now seem trivial. Distance shrinks problems. This doesn't mean ignoring real issues. Some things do matter beyond today. But even for those, perspective allows you to respond strategically rather than impulsively. It helps you separate what requires action from what only requires patience. Imagine a time when you reacted in anger. Maybe you sent a text you regretted, made a decision in frustration, or lashed out at someone. Now imagine if you had paused, if you had given it a day, would you have responded the same way? Most likely not. Pause and reflect. Because time filters emotions, it brings clarity, it prevents regret. The Stoics practice this by constantly reminding themselves of impermanence. Epictetus advised, when something happens, the only thing in your power is your attitude toward it. You can either accept it or resent it. Acceptance doesn't mean apathy, it means control. It means choosing how much space a problem takes up in your mind. Think about the biggest stressor in your life right now. A problem that seems urgent and overwhelming. Now ask yourself, will this still matter in 24 hours? Will it affect my life in a month and a year? Will I even remember this moment? If the answer is no, then why waste your peace over it? If the answer is yes, then how can you approach it calmly and strategically instead of emotionally? There's a reason why successful leaders, elite athletes, and high performers train themselves to think long term. They don't let minor setbacks derail them. They don't react to every emotion. They focus on the bigger picture, because that's where real strength comes from. Try this today. Remember, next time something irritates you, pause. Don't react immediately. Instead, apply the 24-hour rule. Ask yourself if this will matter tomorrow. If not, let it go. If yes, take the most rational step forward. You'll realize how much of your stress comes not from real problems, but from how you perceive them in the moment. A calm mind isn't about avoiding difficulties. It's about mastering perspective, learning to see beyond the now, the next time frustration creeps in. Step back, widen the lens. The problem may not be as big as it seems. Remember, silent power. Silence is underestimated. The world glorifies those who speak the loudest, those who dominate conversations, and those who react impulsively. But the strongest minds don't waste words. They observe, they calculate, they choose their responses with precision. There's a reason silence is feared. It makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to confront their own thoughts. It removes distractions, stripping away the noise and leaving only what is essential. The Stoics understood this deeply. Silence is not a weakness. It is controlled. It is pause and reflect. Power. Picture a heated argument. One person is yelling there. Emotions unchecked, their words spilling out in a desperate attempt to dominate the conversation. The other remains silent, composed, listening. The more the first person speaks, the more unstable they appear. The more the second person remains still, the more powerful they seem. That's the power of silence. It shifts control. Seneca wrote, "It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence." Pause and reflect. In every interaction you have a choice. React impulsively or pause and observe. Those who speak without thinking give away their strength. Those who master silence command attention. In psychology, this is known as the silent response technique. Deliberately withholding words to influence behavior. Studies show that in negotiations, those who pause before responding gain leverage. When one person speaks, the natural tendency is to fill the silence, but the one who resists that urge controls the flow of conversation. Imagine you're in a meeting, a colleague pause and reflect, criticizes your work in front of everyone. Your instinct is to react, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But instead you pause. You let their words settle in. The room shifts. The weight of silence forces them to reconsider. By the time you do speak, your words hold more impact. Silence makes people listen. This applies beyond conflict. In daily life, unnecessary chatter weakens your presence. Those who talk too much dilute their influence. The Stoics believed in speaking only when necessary, choosing words that serve. A pause and reflect. Purpose. Epictetus advised, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Silence also strengthens the mind. In a world of constant noise, notifications, conversations, endless distractions, finding moments of stillness is rare. But within those moments lies clarity. Neuroscientists have discovered that silence activates the default mode network in the brain, the region responsible for introspection and creativity. This is why some of your best ideas come in solitude, when external noise is removed and your thoughts can pause and reflect, finally organize themselves. Think about how often you reach for distractions. The urge to check your phone, to fill every empty space with music, podcasts, and conversations. Why? Because silence forces self-awareness. It reveals what you've been avoiding. But discomfort is necessary for growth. If you can sit in silence, even for a few minutes, A day you will strengthen your ability to focus, to think, to regain control over your mind. This is why some of history's greatest minds practiced solitude. Marcus Aurelius, despite being Emperor of Rome, would remember, retreat into silence to reflect and make decisions free from the influence of others. Warren Buffett, one of the world's most successful investors, spends hours each day in uninterrupted silence to sharpen his thinking. Powerful people don't seek constant stimulation. They value quiet, because that's where real insight emerges. Try this the next time someone speaks to you. Resist the urge to respond. Immediately pause, observe, let silence do the work. Watch how it shifts the dynamic. See how people become uncomfortable, how you reveal more than they intended. In a world that rushes to react, the one who waits controls the conversation. Now take it further. Practice deliberate silence. Set aside 5 minutes a day to sit without distractions. No phone, no music, just stillness. Pay attention to your thoughts. Watch how they wander, how your mind resists, and how the impulse to seek stimulation creeps in. This is where real self-discipline begins. Silence is a tool, a weapon, a strategy. Those who use it wisely command respect without force, influence without effort, and think with this core idea, though ancient, remains just as crucial in today's chaotic world. Remember, unparalleled clarity. The next time you feel the urge to speak impulsively, remember silence is often the stronger choice. 6. The 3-point gratitude shift. You wake up and your first thought is what's missing, what you don't have, what went wrong yesterday, what could go wrong today. The mind is wired to focus on problems. It scans for threats, constantly looking for what's lacking instead of what's present. This was useful for survival, but in modern life, it's a trap. A restless mind never finds peace. A mind trained in gratitude, however, becomes unshakable. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about training your brain to see clearly. The Stoics knew this long before psychology confirmed it. Seneca wrote it. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Wealth isn't just about possessions, it's about perception. Those who chase endlessly are never satisfied. Those who practice gratitude, no matter their circumstances, always feel abundant. This isn't just philosophy. Neuroscientists have found that this core idea, though ancient, remains just as crucial in today's chaotic world. Remember, gratitude literally rewires the brain. Studies show that when you consciously focus on what you appreciate, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals responsible for feelings of happiness and calm. Over time, this builds emotional resilience, making you less reactive to stress and negativity. You don't just feel better, you become mentally stronger. But here's the challenge: gratitude doesn't come naturally. It must be trained in the same way you strengthen a muscle. The fastest way to do this is through the pause and reflect 3-point gratitude shift. A simple yet powerful practice that forces your mind to break its default negativity loop and focus on what truly matters. First, gratitude for what you have. Now, this is the obvious one, but it's where most people get stuck. They assume they need something extraordinary to feel grateful, a perfect life, financial success, external validation. But real gratitude starts with the basics: the ability to breathe, the food you eat, the roof over your head, the relationships that add meaning to your life. These are things, remember, you take for granted until they're gone. Imagine waking up tomorrow with only the things you consciously appreciated today. What would be left? Consider a person recovering from an illness. Before, they took their health for granted. Now every deep breath feels like a gift. Their perspective has shifted, not because their life changed, but because their awareness of it did. You don't have to wait for the loss to learn this lesson. You can choose to see your life with fresh eyes. Now, second, gratitude for what you no longer have. This is where pause and reflect. Perspective shifts. Think of past struggles, pain, setbacks, moments of failure. At the time they felt unbearable, but now they shaped you. They forced growth. They built resilience. You are stronger because of them. The Stoics embraced this mindset fully. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Pause and reflect. Instead of resenting obstacles, they learn to see them as necessary. Imagine someone who lost a job they thought they needed. At first it felt like a crisis, but months later, they found something better, something that aligned with who they truly were. If they look back, they might even feel grateful for that initial setback, because without it, they would still be stuck. Many of the things we fear losing are actually redirections in disguise. Third, gratitude for what is yet to come. This is gratitude in advance, the ability to appreciate the future before. Remember, it arrives not through blind optimism, but through faith in your own resilience. A Stoic doesn't wait for circumstances to dictate happiness. They decide, whatever comes, I will make use of it. This is not just gratitude, it's power. When you learn to welcome both success and struggle with the same attitude, you become unstoppable. Think of an athlete preparing for competition. They don't just train for victory. They prepare for setbacks, injuries, losses. They anticipate difficulty, and yet they step forward with gratitude. Why? Because they pause and reflect. Understand that both triumph and adversity serve them. The same applies to life. When you trust that whatever happens will be useful, you eliminate fear. You move through the world with confidence, knowing that no matter what comes next, you will find a way to turn it into something meaningful. Imagine applying this in daily life. You hit traffic. Annoying, right? But what if you use that moment to appreciate the fact that you have a car, a job, or even just time to think you receive criticism at work? It stings, but what if you saw it as pause and reflect? Fuel for growth. You lose something you thought you needed, but what if you trusted that something better is ahead? This isn't a delusion, it's mental conditioning. It's choosing strength over self-pity. Studies show that people who practice gratitude daily sleep better, experience lower levels of anxiety, and build stronger relationships. But beyond that, gratitude rewires your perception of life. You stop waiting for things to be perfect before you allow yourself to feel content. You realize that peace isn't found in circumstances. It's built. Pause and reflect. Within, try this tonight before you sleep. Write down 3 things. 1 from each category. Something you have, something you once struggled with, but now appreciate. Something you're grateful for in advance. Do this every day for a week. Watch how it changes the way you think. A person who trains gratitude doesn't just feel lighter, they become stronger. They stop feeling like life is happening to them and start recognizing that life is happening to them. Every experience, every setback, every success, it's all part of the same journey. Gratitude isn't just about seeing the good. It's about realizing that everything is useful if you choose to make it. So 7, Amorati. Things don't always go as planned. You lose a job, a relationship ends, an opportunity slips through your fingers. Your first instinct is resistance. Why did this happen? This isn't fair. It wasn't supposed to be this way. You feel frustrated, powerless, and stuck in a cycle of wishing things had unfolded differently. But what if instead of resisting, you embraced it? What if instead of fighting reality, you welcomed pause and reflect? This is Amorati, the Stoic mindset of loving whatever happens, not just accepting it, not just tolerating it, loving it. Every obstacle, every setback, every unexpected turn. Most people misunderstand this. They think it means being passive, letting life do whatever it wants. But it's the opposite. Amorati is about radical ownership, taking whatever life throws at you and using it as fuel. Enzi described it as not merely to bear what is necessary, but to love it. This is not resignation, this is power. The ability to turn everything good, or remember, bad, into an advantage. Imagine a fire, throw obstacles into it, wood, paper, anything, and what happens? It doesn't weaken, it grows stronger. The flame consumes everything and turns it into energy. A person who practices Amorati lives the same way. Did you lose an opportunity? Good. Now you have space for something better. Someone betrays you? Good. Now you see who they truly are. You fail? Good. Now you've learned something no success could have taught you. This isn't optimism, it's strategy. The Stoics saw life as a battlefield. You don't get, remember, to control the conditions. You don't get to decide the weather, the terrain, or the weapons your enemies use. but you do control your response. And the only response that guarantees victory, loving everything that happens. Science backs this up. Psychologists call it cognitive reframing, the ability to shift perspective and see events in a way that empowers you instead of weakens you. Studies show that people who master this skill experience lower stress, faster recovery from adversity, and stronger mental resilience. In simple terms, they remember, don't waste time wishing things were different. They use what is. Look at the greatest successes in history, and you'll see Amorati in action. Thomas Edison's lab burned down in 1914. Instead of despairing, he said, "Thank God all our mistakes were burned up. Now we can start fresh." Most people would have seen disaster. He saw an opportunity. Think about your own life. A time when something didn't go your way. Maybe you lost something you thought you needed at the time. It felt like the worst thing imaginable. But looking back, wasn't it pause and reflect necessary? Didn't it lead you somewhere better? Didn't it force you to grow? Now take it further. What if instead of only seeing it in hindsight, you saw it immediately? What if in the moment something went wrong, you immediately said, "Good, this will make me stronger"? Imagine how unshakable you would become. This is not an easy mindset. It goes against every instinct. The default reaction is to resist, to complain, to wish things were different. Amorati requires training. It requires catching yourself in the moment. When you feel, pause and reflect. Frustration creeping in when you catch yourself thinking, "Why me?" That's when you interrupt it. That's when you shift. Try this. The next time something goes wrong, pause. Instead of reacting, reframe. Ask yourself, how can I use this? What can I learn from this? How can this make me better? Even if the answer isn't obvious, even if it doesn't feel good at first, trust the process. Over time, this mental habit rewires your brain. It turns obstacles into stepping stones. Think about Marcus Aurelius. He ruled Rome during plagues, wars, and betrayals. Every remembered day brought new problems. Yet, he never asked for an easier life. He only asked for the strength to handle what came. His entire philosophy was built on one truth. We don't control what happens. We control how we respond. So here's the challenge for the next 24 hours. No complaints. No wish things were different. No resisting reality. Whatever happens, embrace it. Love it. Find a way to use it. This is more than a mindset. It's a way of being, a way to stop fighting the past, a way to stop fearing the future, a way to take life, pause, and reflect exactly as it is and make the most of it. Love your fate. Own your fate. Amorati. Your mind is the battlefield every day. You face distractions, stress, and emotions pulling you in different directions. But through these 7 strategies, you now have the tools to regain control. You've learned how to stop reacting and start responding, how to break hesitation and take action, how to clear mental clutter, shift your perspective, and embrace silence as strength. You've seen how gratitude reshapes your reality and how Amorati transforms obstacles into opportunities. But knowledge alone is not enough. Wisdom is practice. These principles are only powerful if you apply them today. Choose one, just one, implement it, train it, watch how it changes the way you think, the way you feel, the way you move through the world. Every master started as a beginner. Every strong mind was once undisciplined. The difference, practice. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to begin now. I want to hear from you. Which of these strategies spoke to you the most? Remember, you ever used one of them in your life? Share your story in the comments. Because when we share, we don't just learn, we grow together. Your mind can be your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. Train it well. And when life tests you, as it always will, you won't just survive, you'll thrive. Music. If this message resonates with you and you're ready to take full control of your mind and life, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. Let's build a stronger, calmer, and more resilient you together. True mastery of the mind isn't achieved overnight. It is built day by day, choice by choice, through consistent practice and unwavering dedication. Every small step you take today lays the foundation for a life filled with clarity, peace, and unstoppable strength. If these insights sparked something in you, don't leave empty-handed. Subscribe to our channel to receive weekly Stoic wisdom designed to sharpen your thinking, strengthen your mindset, and help you lead a more purposeful life. Your journey to deeper strength starts now, so hit that subscribe button and keep going.